Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast. I'm, of course, Nick McDaniel, and as always, I am joined by Bubba Myron.
Back again, covering Georgia like pollen.
That's right, man. It's that Georgia Indy Talk section. This one episode's brought to you by Lucha Libre Knockouts. Look, we've had a sponsorship with those guys since all the way back since we ran our show back in September of last year.
Good people.
Oh, great company, man. You know, if you're an NFT collector and you're a pro wrestling fan, check them out, man. Like Lucha Libre Knockouts. Check them out on Twitter and like follow them, and they're on Discord and all those. Like here's the thing that's the hardest part for me to adapt to. Crypto and NFTs. Everything is like on Twitter and on Discord. Like that's where it's all at. Some Telegram stuff, but that's totally what. But typically Twitter and freaking Discord's where you want to be, it seems like. But yeah, go over there and check them out, man, and go to their website. And you know, you can buy some of the NFTs and stuff, and it's really cool. Like one of my NFTs for my God, what account? I can't remember what account I used it for. Is actually my NFT from them, as it's my avatar. So
Cool.
Anyway, long story, but yeah, man, check them all out. We greatly appreciate it, man. But hey, as we get started, let's jump in right into the meat of it, man. You know, here in Georgia, a cool list came out. Shout out to Scott Hensley.
Yes.
Yeah, put this up. We saw it. The Croc Johnson shared it, by the way. We saw it on Mid Southern Wrestling's message board. It was like a list of 22 up and coming wrestlers in the kind of the area. Look, we don't have time to go through 22. We don't. And to be fair, look, it's hard for somebody, you know, like, look, Scott does a lot of stuff in, you know, Tennessee and Georgia and all over the Alabama, you know, all that stuff. So he sees a ton. We wanted to hit the highlight points of the ones that we know, that we've seen, and, you know, and the ones we agree with, that kind of stuff, that you want to keep it off, you know, and they're like, look, they're not in an order, so they're not like, this is number 1 and this is number 10 or whatever. But, you know, let's start right off the list. Look, we've come across Parker Lee up at Anarchy. That's where we come across him a lot.
He is like the second coming of Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. I mean, this kid is good.
Very
technical,
athletic.
very athletic, moves wonderful. I think this guy has untapped potential. So.
The thing, my thing with Parker Lee is, it's funny. We've had conversations with people. He's going to be one of those characters you got to be careful for. He's going to be so athletic that he could probably do just about anything. And he's got to learn he doesn't need to do everything or do anything all the time. And I think the mad scientist will delve a little character, you know, to go on top of that. Give him some, you know, personality and things like that. I think that's that'll elevate him to the.
He's super over at Anarchy.
Yeah,
that's the only place I've seen him, but he is super over there.
Yeah, 100% agree. So it was crazy to see exotic youth on the list, and what I mean by that though is up and comer on this list. I was like, haven't they already up and come? Especially here in Georgia. Look, they got to, you know, there's so much more they could accomplish, and we believe they can. But Zach Mosley, Bryce Cannon, and Cornelius Pepperbottom, look, they've hit everywhere.
Heels.
Yeah.
Heels. That's very important. You can pop them in anywhere. You need to bring in some heels. Those are your guys. They're going to generate heat. Great.
And they're heat magnets, by the way. It's funny because, you know, they're so easy. That's what's funny. When they are at their best, they're so easy to hate. Yeah. And I think that's a testament to them, that just, you know, they can make the fans hate them so bad everywhere they go. So they're consistently hated. And then when they love them, you know, but like I said, but it's something about those guys that it's easy to hate them. And, you know, and I think the moon's the limit for those guys. And I think they've got a lot of growth to say the least from them. Mm-hmm. Next stud on the list, look, I am completely partial. I tell people all the time, when you talk about the Croc Johnston, I'm partial as it gets, but I'm a huge fan. You know, I think the kid's got all of the potential in the world. Yeah. And, you know, the funny thing when you talk about potential, lots of times you think about like, oh, but it's what he's already accomplished, but yet what he still can accomplish.
Yeah.
Think about it this way. He's in Southern Strong Style. He's one half of that team. He's 1/3 of the program. And he's becoming one of those faces. I tell people, starting to be everywhere, folks.
Yeah.
It's Anarchy. He had a match at Southern Honor. He had a couple at Southern Fried. He's at Wrestling United. He's going to be at IWE. You start to see the, on and on and on. Promotions are starting to take notice of this kid.
And he's one of that new breed that promotes themselves all the time. Yep. Okay. Every week he's got a new video about where he's going. Every week he's got a promo. If these people would have been doing this when we started this podcast, our life would have been so much easier. So much easier. These people, the kids now coming up have totally reinvented the independent wrestling game in Georgia. And as a third of the program, you also got Hunter James. Okay, the program to me is the most hated faction in Georgia, and Hunter James with his trophies and his medals and his attitude, and the fact he's 19 and he's already got in matches with some of the greatest of Georgia history, is so impressive.
Hunter
he
James
is a face and a heel.
There you go. You were talking about how he's a heel and he's a face. Literally up the road at Anarchy, he's part of the most hated group in that building. Southern Fried, he's part of one of the most beloved tag teams in the Palmetto Express in that area. What's fun is he can be white meat babyface, pain in the ass prick. Like pick your poison. Like where you want him, he plays both roles to it. Yeah, and and the crazy thing is you brought up his age. He's so young. So how far he is in this game already. This is absolutely a kid to keep an eye on. I tell you all the time. Hunter James has all the potential in the world to be a star. Gustavo, we had the pleasure of meeting Gustavo at WrestleCade of all places. And then turned around, and next thing I know, he's popping up, in promotions around here. I showed up over at Viral, won gold really quick over there at Viral. And what stands out about Gustavo is he has the personality and the character already.
Yeah. Yes. And he also understands what he's doing. When I met him, that's what stood out to me is you and him were talking about something, and he was going through something about just getting attention with the rose he used. And it made such psychological sense. Like he knew what he was doing. And that's rare these days.
I agree, man. I do agree. Dylan McQueen, do we need to say more? Like this guy, we've seen him a few times at Southern Honor. I know he does some other promotions. I think he does Wrestle America as well. And he gets rave reviews everywhere. He's done AEW as well. I had to think about that. I think he's done some AEW stuff as well.
Another Jarrett Pritchard, not Jarrett Pritchard. Yeah.
Jacobs Pritchard. Because
we work with Jarrett Parsons, and I see Jacobs Pritchard Wrestling Academy, probably one of the best schools ever. Those kids are coming out, and they're doing great things.
Yeah. So Dylan McQueen being on the list does not surprise me in the least. And the next one that we knew, like Carly Bravo. Listen, we've had our eye on Carly. There's a reason why he was on our show, right? Like that's a lot, that we especially were on our show. He's got the military background, which endears him to a lot of people as well. But he's already done some crazy, like he's already done AEW stuff. He's been on the tag team with Sean Dean. I mean, he's been part of the stuff with David Ali and all those so he's already been in. He's at the Nightmare Factory. Which is a key component, especially if you're here in the Georgia area. Being there, I think, gives you a leg up just because of all of the expertise that you got coming out of that building.
Training and connections
pays off. Sometimes the reason I rave so much about the Nightmare Factory, the old saying, it doesn't matter what you know, it's who you know. The crazy thing about that school, it is what you know and who you know.
Yep.
Like, you get the best of both worlds rolling through the Nightmare Factory. Jacobs, Pritchard, same kind of logic there, by the way. So anyway, Carly Bravo, you know, absolutely is somebody you want to keep an eye on, especially after this weekend. And I'll tell you why leading into when we get into one of the discussions of one of the shows later on. Hold My Beer Hansen make this a list. Been a couple years, you know, since we it's been more than a couple. Geez, at this point, it's been a few years since we came across Hansen.
Love that kid.
And it comes same thing. So one of the things that I always strive is to say that he's to point out about Hansen, he gets the gimmick. He gets the character. And he's not afraid. And if you ever want to talk, like, he's not pigeonholed into this one character, by the way, because I that was one of my first fears of Hansen, is that I was worried he was going to become, you know, Hold My Beer Hansen, and that's what he was going to be. This shit at Anarchy shows you, like, there's some flexibility there, and you know, and he's got some range, and that's what people. So I was listening to a podcast a while back, and I'll let you throw your take in here. One of the things Bischoff kind of really beat on AJ Styles about in early Impact TNA was that AJ always wanted to be comfortable, like, with his character. Like, I wouldn't do that. It's not you, it's your character. You know, that kind of thing. And, like, he said the thing with Ric Flair, when they pushed him out of his comfort zone and the women and all that stuff. But he was like, but it was some of AJ. He goes, it wasn't the best product we ever got out of him, but it began him to open up and try new things. Seeing this shit at Anarchy with Hansen, keep an eye out on it. That's all I'm going to say. It's eye-opening for sure.
Dude, that Hardcore Hell was so intense. We got a guy that's the good time guy with a beer and the Waffle House shit, and all of a sudden he's this evil mastermind behind a cult, and it worked. It worked incredibly well. Kudos to him with this. I gotta, all those kids. Dude, seriously. All those kids are getting out there.
Yeah, I mean, you know, look, we obviously have our favorites on the list. I mean, how could we not? They know who we are. Everybody at this point probably knows who they are. But you know, and it's always, I tell people, man, you're right. Check social media, man. The ones that are putting it out there and getting their name out there and talking shit. And that's, you know, look, does anybody do it better than Exotic Youth, right? They talk their shit. They're always posting. They're always out there.
Getting bookings on social media.
Yeah.
Getting noticed on social media. Because not everybody can go to your show at a gym somewhere, you know, where nobody is going to see it. You're going to get word of mouth through people inside the wrestling community. But as you pointed out with Hunter James, the Anarchy fans and the Southern Fried fans are two completely different pods, even though they're not that far away. But through social media, you can become something else and advertise yourself everywhere.
Yeah, I agree, man. Because look, like you said, we're talking about shows everywhere, all over the entire state. These guys are working. The big one, like, I'm kind of going to do this kind of in reverse calendar order almost. We're actually going to start for the show that's coming up in a few weeks. That is IWE. That's running. They're running May the 14th down in Augusta. Look, lots of crazy. Look, we some of the guys we just talked about, Exotic Youth, Southern Strong Style, Hansen, you know, on the freaking poster, right? I mean, that's kind of the shit we're talking about.
Yep.
Putting in the miles and putting in the work. Alan Angels is going to be on the card. Skrilla the Great's on the card. There's a women's match with champion Lindsay Snow. It's funny, somebody pointed out, so AC Mack, Vari Morales, and Darian Bingston are in a triple threat. And somebody said, hey, doesn't Slim work there? And I said, yes. They go, shouldn't Slim be the third person in that match? Because we've seen that one before. I said, that's funny. That's funny.
It was a barn burner.
Yeah, it was. Anthony Henry and Joe Black will be a barn burner. That's for damn sure. Those two are going to probably go toe to toe.
Tyreek back there over his shoulder.
Yeah, Tyreek, man, he's pulling some strings there, down in IWE. It's going to be a good show, man. And that's what I just tell everybody, man. If you're down in that Augusta area, May 14th, check them out over there. Get your tickets. Go online, follow them on Facebook, wherever you got to. Check those guys out down in IWE. It's their 3rd year anniversary show. They're shooting for 300. Help them get there, man, if you can. So,
well,
and
congratulations on 3 years. Yes.
Yeah, and kudos to those guys. By the way, I did share the VetTix link today. The day of a recording. So if you're a vet and you look, that's a great way to get some free tickets to some of these sporting events. I posted it. I shared it. Check out my page. Check out their page. It's all there to get you some good tickets to some good family entertainment. So, yeah, man. Then we're going to head down to our next show. Got to back out of order a little bit. We're going to jump in. You're finally going to be off, man. You're going to get to see
the show.
Yeah.
I've got the 2 biggies for me.
Yeah.
Southern Honor and Southern Fried.
Southern Honor 39, big loaded card. The reason I have Carly Bravo and David Ali posted up there is because obviously that show is the next to the last match for David here in Georgia. He's actually going to be wrestling a former partner, friend, Carly Bravo. We've also got, the Cyrus versus Judas versus Owen Knight for the Southern Honor title.
Oh, wow.
Kenzie Page versus Shaza McKenzie in a women's match. Joe Black and Kyle Matthews. Jesus, that one's going to be good.
Yeah.
Tank has an open challenge. Somehow, Gunner, maybe? We'll see.
Oh.
Jordan Kingsley versus Darian Bingston. He's going to be there as well. And then the tag title match with TSF challenging for the All-Star Special. Lots of stuff going on. Look, it looks like All-Star. I'm going to pick All-Star to keep their run going for a while.
What's going on with Sunny Days and Cruel?
That's what we're going to find out, man. We're going to find out. Sunny Days, Dylan, because Brooklyn called Dylan straight out. It wasn't, Sunny or what it's,
Steel Brawler.
Yeah, Steel City Brawler may show up and defend Dylan's honor. We're never sure. But that story is as twisted as it gets right now, and I think those two. I think we do end up seeing Sunny Days and Cruel going into a deep, dark place very, very soon.
2 guys that can do it.
That's they're gonna.
I don't think anybody can get darker than those
2. But for me personally, look, there's lots of great wrestling on this show. I think it's gonna be a great card. My heart tugs obviously at David Ali's last match in Southern Honor. He was such a key vital point for Southern Honor for a very, very long time.
Mm-hmm.
But and then it's going to be against Carly Bravo. That I think that's going to be a lot of emotion there. But people progress and people move on, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. And like us, the following night, we will, pack up, head over down the road, go down to Monroe, Southern Fried Championship Wrestling, down at the Boys and Girls Club at 405 Community Court. And we're going to see, look, Adrian Hawkins gets a shot at Narcissism for the Classics title. Judas and Todd Sexton will wrestle Nick Kalen and, your favorite wrestler, Nick Kalen. Let me rephrase that. I got to get that correctly. And Xavier Reyes.
Mm-hmm.
Shane Marks will wrestle Billy Buck for the Southern Fried title. And, of course, Alan Angels will come to town, and he will wrestle David Ali in David's final match before he leaves Georgia. I'm going to save that one for last. But, look, Southern Fried does what Southern Fried does, man. I tell people all the time, never sleep on Southern Fried. They just...
Nope.
Continue to do great show after great show. And it's the perks we have. Some of our favorite weekends are those Southern Honor, Southern Fried doubleheaders, as I like to call them.
They're good. They're good. You get to see some of the best wrestling. And, here lately there's been Southern Honor Anarchy weekends where it's happened. Anarchy's moving back to running once a month.
Yeah.
So we won't see them again until the 28th of May.
Yeah.
But I'm so stoked for this Southern Fried show. There are people on that poster that we don't have their matches yet. That's going to be interesting. But Alan Angels comes back to work David Ali, who probably had more matches with David Ali when years ago than anybody.
The New Era name on the poster. Yeah. It's funny that it's a Southern Fried show and not a Southern Honor show.
Yeah.
The whole other, twist there, but New Era. That whole where kind of these guys all kind of started back in the day, just a few years ago. That's what's crazy. So on his way out, Ali gets Carly Bravo at Southern Honor, Alan Angels at Southern Fried. It's funny. You get torn when you see this kind of stuff. On one hand, like the state of Georgia will miss David Ali.
Yes.
And they really will.
I will personally miss him.
Yeah, I listen. This is jacked up, and I, because you know me, I'm super cold. I tell people all the time, like I don't get. Myron's the crier, by the way. Myron's the crier of the two.
I'm the emotional one.
And it doesn't happen often, but when he told, like, when I found out David was leaving, I was like, dude. I mean, so you go through that moment of like, I'm really gonna miss David. But then you're like, if he's going and it's a betterment for himself, his career and things like that, you're an ass to even like be sad that he's leaving.
It's like having your children leave the nest. It's like when I get an intern at work and I mentor them and then they go off and get their license and become a good pharmacist. You hate to see them leave you, but the bird has to fly sometimes.
Yeah. Look,
okay?
I preface all this. I don't take any of that kind of stock that that much. Here's the thing. We go full circle. There's a whole story, and it's funny with David that there was a point when I thought he was pissed at us.
Oh, he's better than hell at me, and it was about a year
ago. And then I addressed it with him, and it's been, I've loved him. I loved him before that, which was kind of what that whole anyway, but just little moments and like to me, if you didn't believe the faith that I had in David Ali, there's a reason why there was a huge focal point on our show when we ran our show up in Canton. That he was such a key, vital, like 2-segment piece to that puzzle. And I wish him nothing but the best. And I absolutely don't think there would be anything hard that could pull me from these two shows. Like I absolutely will have to make it a point to go see these two shows to see his final matches here. Because listen, I'm hoping the next time I see him, it's on my television.
Yes.
That would be my hopes for David Ali. So before we get emotional about David Ali leaving, let me ask you this. He's leaving. It's going to leave a void in Georgia. And, because, somebody pointed out there was a stretch there that he carried, 3 promotions?
Yeah.
And look, carries maybe the bad word. He was an integral piece, a top player at 3 promotions simultaneously.
Yeah. They are guys that can do that. I think some of them are developing. I think David was in a spot at the perfect time for him to be able to do that. There are other guys that will learn to step up and take his place and be able to do the kind of stuff he's done. I feel we're in such a great place in Georgia because of the mentors we have, the people like Hankins, Todd, and Rick, and all the other great Dylan, Logan, all the other great talents that are Sal, that are able to help people and mentor these young men to become great wrestlers. That's why we'll be in a good spot. We can, even though we hate to see David go, I think there's going to be people clawing for his spot. And I think there's a lot of guys that can do this. And I wish them all the best.
Well, the thing is there's lots of veterans in this area, who can easily, fill that slot while the next wave comes in. When I think of people that'll be your top players, look, it's simple, right? Like is there a slot here? First and foremost, you're like, okay, is there a slot anymore? You know, when you start talking about guy like Jeter, you know, claiming anarchy, and that's what I call it. It's his belt, right? It's his title. It's his house now. That's what he's gonna, you know, over, you know, at Southern Honor. Owen Knight, he's had a hell of a run. And by the way, go back to who, you know, hey, how did he get that title?
Yeah.
Think about that. But then you've got Judas and Cyrus and, you know, all those guys fighting their way into that position. Many more. But, you know, Southern Fried, you know, there's always somebody like climbing that ladder. Look, I'm partial and I keep saying it, right? Brock Johnson, Joe Black. I mean, you know, look, guys like that. I mean, the beast, you know, the studs. You know, those guys they're especially Brock Johnson. I will tell you by end of this year, you know, end of next year, I think he's in that place where promotions are going to be like, okay, he's the player. He's a player everywhere. I don't think it's just, you know, in one or two. I think he's going to be a player across the state. By the way, I don't think he's a player just in the state. I've seen posters now. He's starting to make some travels. And maybe. So one of the things I didn't know how we were going to address this, and I'm still not sure, is, you know, David leaving could be for a million, and we, you know, look, for the reasons leaving, so, you know, but at the same time, remember a while back we had an episode where we discussed you can't settle in Georgia.
No.
Like, you have got to become such a big name that they whoever they are, they can't deny you. And that is, I'm going to the Northeast to get booked. I'm going out to Texas. I'm going up to the Midwest. Eventually California, Florida, all over. That's how you're going to get noticed. You got to be willing to, like, you got to make that commitment. And I'm hoping, you know, and that's what I'm saying, you know, I think guys are going to see. I think those are the guys that are willing to put in the miles that I think that you're going to see the payoff. But
yeah, we need more Georgia talent at WrestleCade. It shows like that.
Exactly.
You can get on the bigger stage. You can meet promoters. You can meet Tracy. You can meet Kanabrowski and some of those other guys where you could get your foot in the door. You know, it's lots of opportunities right now.
And, you know, you see guys wrestling at PWX, or you see guys wrestling down in Florida, usually over on and on and on and on and on. But you know, but the go home statement of that whole thing is May 6th, May 7th, big giant weekend, you know, for David Ali, big farewell, you know, I don't want to call it a farewell tour, but essentially that's what it feels like. And the state of Georgia will miss David Ali. That's just my opinion.
Amen.
So
agreed.
Well, that's everything I have for this week on the Georgia Indy Talk section. Is there anything that I'm missing or that you thought of?
No, well, I'm working on some stuff I haven't talked to you about. The Southern Fried Game Room Expo I'm all for this year. AEW will be coming back to wrestle there 2 days.
AWE.
It's right next to the Brave Stadium. Might be worth getting a hotel room down there and having some fun. I'm working on that, and also I'm interested about this new thing that AEW is doing. AWE is doing.
I need to reach out to Proc and get him to fill me in on some of that because I think he's with the tryout stuff.
Yeah, I'm fascinated. I want to know more. They've got Top Dollar coming in for that. So I'm studying. I'm out there doing the detective work. Anybody wants to talk about it, let me know. Anybody from behind the scenes wants to talk about it, let me know. We can come up with something. But I hope to see bigger crowds this next weekend. I hope IWE gets their 300 that weekend. Let's all get out there and support independent wrestling, especially in Georgia.
Yeah. If I had some time off, I had to recharge the batteries, man, a little bit, bounce back a little bit. You know, it's time to get back out there and kind of, you know, like you said, help boost those numbers right back on up, man. That's the goal in life for right now. So, well, man, that's all I've got. Like I said, is that it?
That's about all I've got too.
Well, man, what's the old saying, brother? If I've got nothing, you've got nothing. What time is it?
It's time to tap out.